What's happening? This is the Tap In podcast. I had to get a call in from one of the Tap In's favorite groups, United Streets of America. I got Bry-Dee, OG Bry-Dee on the phone, and also Heru of United Streets of America. What's happening, fellas?
What's going on, man? What's the move?
Man, so I wanted to tap in with y'all because I see y'all kicking up a lot of dust right now. You know what I mean? Um, I see that one. I see y'all got a new clubhouse room started, right?
Yeah, we got Compton ready. Yeah, for sure. United Streets of America presents Compton ready.
Okay. And then I also seen on YouTube y'all getting that Wack, man. What's going on with that?
Oh, man, the brother just putting false paperwork out, man, on people, man, and putting false jackets on people and bullying too many people, man. And he bullying these young dudes, man, that's coming up in the industry, man, and trying to basically destroy their character, assassinate their character, and destroy their livelihoods for nothing, man. Just so he can capitalize it. But he alleged he's a multi-millionaire, so why are you destroying people trying to come up?
And when you saying he trying to put those jackets, who you speaking on specifically?
He called 40 Glocc a snitch. 40 Glocc presented his paperwork. Wasn't nothing fraudulent with him.
Oh, okay.
And the criminality, when you get into, he's talking madness about legal litigation. And I often say this, man, Freedom of Information Act on certain things, man. When if you and I got into a dispute, Donte, the avenue if you and I got into a dispute in a business sense, the normal thing for us to do as businessmen is to sue one another. It happens all the time in the industry. Now, if you and I were to get into something where there's something criminal and we were both involved in the street life, then going to them people would be snitching. So when you throw the allegations that the brother's a snitch and the brother paperwork come up on this criminality and there's no snitching in it, then what are you doing, man? Why are you doing shit like that? So that's what we stepped in at, man. Enough is enough, man.
So here's my thing: where is the lines? Because it seems like sometimes the lines get blurred between street shit and then business shit. You know what I mean? Especially like in the music industry, the lines sometimes get blurred a little bit. And I'm assuming that the whole 40 Glocc thing had to do with Game a few years back, probably like 06, 07, when Game and 40 Glocc had got into a little scuffle outside of a party, and then later on 40 Glocc went and sued Game, right?
Yeah.
So at what point?
So what's crazy?
Go ahead.
What's crazy about all this is that Donte, is like what you saying. The lines get blurred, right? And the deal with a lot of this is that what people from the outside looking in gotta see is that most of these cats that y'all think is street or is thorough or whatever you may be thinking from perception based on their image and the music, it's really not that. And when people be hearing these stories, man, like what people gotta start thinking about is that when you see somebody that's presenting themselves as blood or crib or whatever they doing, don't none of that matter if you're not doing what you're doing to the opposition. So if you hear people, they did this to an industry dude, or they did this, or they did that, or they extorted this person, that don't really mean nothing, because they wasn't doing that to somebody who was from the streets that was official. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm gonna say to the lines getting blurred. You understand? With the situation with Game and 40 Glocc, and from my perception at the time, me being a hip hop head, I fuck with Game music, and I I was one of the ones that was rooting for Game when he went with the whole situation with 50 Cent. So when the deal popped up with 40, and me not knowing the ins and outs and the politics and everything at the time, I was like, looking at 40 Glocc a certain type of way until I started learning the things that I needed to know from a street perspective, So when people saw that footage and everything else, they just thought, oh man, Game beating the hell out of 40 Glocc. What 40 told us though was that it was like 8 dudes that was there that had already jumped on it, and they had burners. So now, again, you messing up somebody's livelihood because from the outside looking in, people don't really know what's going on, and they just see Game. Which, if somebody really fighting, homie, they not holding a cell phone and recording it at the same time.
Yeah.
So when Game is hitting him, and 40 just letting him hit him, 40 had already been jumped on by a bunch of dudes already. So now Game got the phone in one hand and he hit him with the other hand. So we got to understand this is show business. It's a business of putting on a show. So in that situation, 40 was in his right to do what he did as far as suing dude, because you messing up this man's livelihood because he a street affiliated rapper who really is a real rip, and you making him look like he's some sucker by punching on him on camera, and you not telling people the whole story of what really happened. So with a lot of this stuff, bro, that's why we thankful for people like you that's actually willing to ask the questions so we can get to the bottom of what's really going on and what really happens in a lot of these scenarios, because from the outside looking in, people will never really know what really took place. They just see the 30-minute clip or the 2-minute clip or whatever, and then they make their decision based on that.
Yeah.
Now, let me say something. Okay, first off, they initiated by uploading that film. Now, let's talk business. Let's say I have this is a hypothetical situation, Donte.
Okay.
I have 5 businesses that I own, and they're very lucrative. And I say, yeah, they say that Donte's studio, there's guys running around screwing sheeps in the studio. And Donte's sitting there watching them screw sheeps. Can I just throw that to the public?
Hell no.
Donte could sue me for defamation of character. He could sue me for defamation of character. He could sue me for putting a false narrative out. He could sue me for lying. That's business. That's business. But now, if I'm in the street life and I stop at Donte's studio and I say, yeah, man, there was a pimp in there, man, and his hoe was solicited at Donte's studio. That's snitching. Why am I telling the law or people about what's going on in the studio? That's an illegality. You dig what I'm saying? So when you draw that line, tell the truth on the video. You got 4 or 5 dudes that got pistols on them, and you filming something. Okay, 4 or 5 dudes got pistols on me. I don't know what I could say right now. No one knows what they could say unless they're in that position. Well, 4 or 5 dudes got pistols on you, and you don't know if they're going to shoot or not. And one dude is socking you out. And then they upload it to the world to see. So they initiated the litigation on the legality. If Tom Cruise, Denzel Washington, Tyler Perry was a paparazzi in the nose, the people chase them taking pictures, what that paparazzi gonna do? They'll sue him.
Yeah. So let me
What
ask.
did Harry-O do to Suge Knight?
He sued
What
him.
did Harry-O do to Suge Knight?
He sued him.
He took him to court, did he not?
Yeah.
And the litigation was granted in his favor. Is that snitching? What was he supposed to do with Suge? Man, you didn't even break me off. I would have shut it up if you would have broke me off the right thing, but you didn't break me off. So you know what? My lawyer gonna contact your lawyer. That's business. But see, the way that Wack 100 put it out there is as if everybody, he was going to court. He got that case in Minnesota. He's snitching. He tried to make it look like his criminal case that he had in Minnesota, that he was a rat on it. So he presented all this paperwork. See, if you want to go thin lines, why are you fucking with Takashi, whatever his fucking name is? I don't even know how to pronounce that weirdo's name.
Yeah.
if you want to go thin line, you a street dude fucking with a rat.
Yeah. Yeah, and I heard the video where Heru, you was really going at him about the 6ix9ine thing. What is your actual position on Wack working with 6ix9ine?
Well, and really, I didn't go out. I didn't go in, Donte, because I really could have pressed the line on Wack. And when I started seeing him, I saw him as a spin master after we got on the phone together. On the podcast together. So I just let him live, bro. And because, like, we don't want to be bullies, and we don't want to make it seem as if, we trying to do all this controversial bullshit out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you listen to that whole clip long enough, I started backing off on him and I let him live. But with the whole Tekashi situation, how I look at it is this: if that was gonna be a business move that he was gonna make, that's his business. But what Wack has been doing is he's been attacking all of these real credible people. Like he got in a room with some dudes from New York, and they was trying to make the dude Corey King look bad, who's a reputable blood from NY.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start doing that, see, with that coming out, and if it came out the wrong way, it could have got that man killed. So those the type of things I got a real problem with. And what we starting to see more and more of is with this industry bullshit, right? It's like we gonna glorify the rats, the suckers, and the busters, and we gonna make real street dudes look like they're not credible. So that's what really bothers me, man. Not to bring up no names, but like what the dude down there who was causing all the controversy down there, we came up and we pulled up. It's like it's an all out move to try to discredit real street people, because these suckers out here want to keep making money and keep fooling the public.
So here's my take on it, right? I feel like ever since the internet, or when people start seeing that you can really monetize off the internet, I'm starting to see more and more really street dudes trying to get money off the internet. And I think that's what's really watering down the street dudes. I don't know if it's necessarily like either Wack or, because listen, I'm not a street dude at all, but I know everything that's going on in the streets because all I do is just tune in to YouTube. I tune in to Clubhouse, and I'm listening, and everybody's on there telling, or everybody explaining shit. And it's just like, you don't really even have to be a street dude to even know what's going on in the streets no more. And I feel like that's what's really watering down street dudes that are real efficient.
Nah, bro. Let me say something about that. You might know some of the things that's going on in the streets.
Right.
But, like, the real street dudes is really putting in work, is really stepping on shit, is really out here pressing the line. Man, they not coming on no Clubhouse, no YouTube, no none of that. I got one of my guys out of Chicago. He from the west side of Chicago, the Holy City. And me and him was talking last night about it. And he was like, yeah, G, he was like, ain't none of them guys gonna come on the podcast, but they respect y'all, and they really want y'all to know that y'all doing some real shit, huh? And I got another guy that's a GD that lives down in Florida. And, he and Bry-Dee have talked, I think, a few times on the phone. And he respect and he salute everything that we doing, but he ain't going to come on no podcast and make no statements or talk about nothing, Yeah. So when it's all said and done, what we're seeing is this, bro. If you start looking at what started happening in the industry, at some point, and I really think, from my vantage point, it may go back to maybe like Master P. When dudes saw that Master P was a dude that was from the streets, and he got up in this music thing, and he made like $300 million in maybe like a 3-4 year time period, and dudes started seeing that. You started seeing more and more dudes that was affiliated that had street money to start jumping in the rap game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And see, now it's more of the opposite. See, it's not a lot of industry dudes no more. It's a lot of real street dudes that starting to get into the music thing. And see, what we got to think about is that the FBI, local law enforcement, they all looking at this.
Exactly.
So now, if it's somebody who, like, because I'm gonna tell you, Shorty Low, that was my man. One of my guys when I was in the street hustling, that was Shorty Low, second cousin. So Shorty Low was really everything that he rapped about and everything that he said in his lyrics. He was really that, and he was able to get out of the street and make millions and millions of dollars hustling a different way. So that type of thing, they don't want us to be able to slip through these cracks, homie. So now we got to start looking at it like, why are they embracing weirdos? Why is it people like DJ Academics that has such a huge presence? Why is it all of these people that you could tell that they really not from the fabric and they really not from the cloth, but they out here talking about real stuff that's going on in the streets? And you can see that they breaking the rules and they don't understand the streets because the way they talk about things that happen in the streets. So from my vantage point, I look at it like it's these squares and these busters that's industry dudes that are trying to act as if they are the in the streets dudes. And I think it's multiple reasons. I think for one, like I said, the powers that be don't want brothers to be able to get out of the fight and actually be able to become successful businessmen. And then if enough real street dudes start to get into the industry, it's gonna push all of these squares and these busters that are, making a living off of being culture vultures. It's gonna push them out the way. So people got to understand what's really going on, man.
You see, then another thing, like, okay, if I was still in the streets, there's no way that I would be a co-host of Compton Ready. There's no way that you would be getting this interview. There's no way of anything if I was still in the streets.
Yeah.
That's one. Two, because I'm no longer in the streets, I still won't speak on street business because I still have an alliance to the streets on my former lifestyle. It's still in my DNA of certain codes and rules. It's just like a while back, me and my homie plus my little cousin, Lil Pop, was doing an interview with Melly Mel, the Hood Postman. Okay? And he has this podcast. He's a business partner with ours, but he has the Hood Postman. And if you tap in on, no pun intended, but if you tap in on the Hood Postman interview of OG Bry-Dee and Lil Pop, they ask us about Indian Redwood. We both say that's not our business. That's Damu business, and we can't comment on that. Now, if I was one of these fake-ass, former wannabe faking-ass street dudes, I would have spoke highly on it. I would have said all this crap about it, and I would have said, well, man, this happened, or this is the reason that happened, and this happened. But because of my DNA as a loyalty, per se, to the streets still, not a loyalty as in an active participant, but in respecting the rules and regulations of the streets, I said what is supposed to be said. It's not our business, man. We ain't got no comment on that. So what happens now is you take dudes that are similar to myself that have left the streets, right? But now they get in these industries. And by getting in these industries, they have these busters who now you are my artist, and I introduce you to my nephew and his little entourage. and y'all all the same age. Y'all smoking blunts together, tossing females. So you the buster artist, all of a sudden think you a street dude.
Right.
And you start acting accordingly now that you taking these entourages to these backstage concerts, and these entourages are really in the streets. But they fascinating.
Let me ask you,
So
Bry-Dee. Do street dudes? Do you ever graduate from being in the streets or that alliance? Is there ever a point where you just say, you know, this is who I was, and that's the chapter behind me, and now I'm on to doing other things, and you know, I may know because from what I see, it's like it's a new generation where now it's a new young game and where people are, it's different rules now. You know what I mean? And so I would think as an OG, you like, yeah, I did my time in the streets, but now I'm on to other things. I'm doing other things.
Definitely. You have a ton of street dudes, authentic real street dudes that made that transition. Okay, this is the analogy I use. You know, it's no big secret that I just did 18 years straight in the federal prison system as a part of my poor choices in life. You know, so this is the analogy I use. When I got out of the feds, I became a snake. Now, a lot of people say, whoa, how could you say you're a snake? No, listen to this. Follow the analogy. A snake sheds its skin every 22 days. I shedded my skin. The snake, when it sheds that skin holds no relevancy. It can't even make a snake skin belt, the skin that was shed. He becomes a whole new snake now. Same person, but just a different skin. That's the same thing with me. I shed all that street stuff when I left the feds. I shed all that prison stuff. It no longer holds relevancy in my life. So I went in a different direction. Part of that journey has led to me being on tap end right now. I'm no longer a street dude, but I'm a dude of the streets. It's a difference. But I am not a civilian in the sense of if I was in a bank and some guys came in there and robbed it, and I noticed the guy had a green tattoo on his thumb, I'm not going to tell the law that. Straight out. Because I still respect the protocol of the streets. But now if I have a business and a guy comes in there and he robs my business and he's on film robbing my business, I'm going to say the film speaks for itself. Don't ask me. I don't know. I can't see out my left eye. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell on this guy. It's just not in me, man. You know, and then people try to throw a scenario, well, what if you see a man raping a woman or harming a child? Well, guess what? The street in me kicked in then. I harm him to the best of my ability. But if I see a man still in the car, it ain't got nothing to do with me. That car better be insured. Better hope the insurance company covered, because it's still a tightrope that you walk when you are formerly of the streets.
But isn't that part of your transition? Like, you no longer, because that one guy that's still in that car, you know, if he get away, he could maybe come back and steal your car.
Well, that's why I pay my insurance.
Okay.
You know, because you know, but now, watch this. If that guy is Donte of Tap In fame, and he says, yes, I just did an interview with Bry-Dee, and Bry-Dee said this, and Bry-Dee said that, and Bry-Dee said this, and I say to Donte on the back channel line, man, you need to retract that. I didn't say that. And if Donte says, man, I'm not retracting nothing, that's what I'm standing on. You said that. And I'm saying, but man, you don't have any recordings of me saying that. You don't have any proof or verification. You know what, man? Since I'm a businessman, homie, and I try to give you an opportunity as man to man and being a former street dude, talk to my lawyer, bro. So now I'm going to have you counteract my initiated litigation because we're both businessmen. That's not snitching. That's business. That's making the transition from a street person to a business person. And people get those lines blurred like that. When you are in corporate America, you initiate litigation. When you in Compton America, you initiate to left and right. Yes. That's what you initiate.
Yeah, I always with going back to that 40 Glocc and game thing. that is interesting because it started. I feel like it started in the streets. You know what I mean? And then 40 Glocc, was like, this is my chance where I can get me a bag. I already took the ass whooping, so y'all got that one, but I'm gonna get this one. From the outside looking in, that's how it looked.
Yeah, and that's how it's presented to the public. Okay, I reserve the right to comment on that. That's just how I take that. But I'm a firm believer in when you initiate things to assault a person's livelihood and you call yourself in the industry or the business, you open your door for litigation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, one thing I want to say: do I agree with certain things? My magic phrase is I can agree to disagree with a lot of things. That's my right as a human being. That's my right as a man, and that's my integrity as a man allows me the right to agree to disagree. So certain things that I but one thing for sure, two things for certain, is no agree to disagree on this. The 6'9" cat, the door was open, engaged in criminal activity. He observed criminal activity. He was complicit to criminal activity. And when he got caught up as a result of the criminal activity, he did what did he turn into?
Yeah.
Snitch. Do I have to say what he turned into?
Yeah.
He signed the 5K1. Those who don't know legalities or the law, a 5K1 is a federal form in which you become a government informant or snitch or witness. So therefore, by him associating himself with them guys, putting those guys in his videos, saying this is what he is, disrespecting, as they say these days, ops of those guys, partying with those guys, so on and so on and so on, he made himself a part of that. And when it got hot to kitchen, he couldn't take the heat. So he did what he with a scud bucket in that lifestyle does. He snitched.
Yeah. I mean, I don't personally agree with what he did at all. You know what I mean? Just on a moral standpoint, you know what I mean? But as I do my research on organized gangs, even all the way back from the mafia, most of those guys got taken down by their own people, right? By their own gang because of everybody telling. You know what I'm saying? And it just seems like nothing has changed from even back in the 50s and 60s when there were mobs and the mafia in New York was running New York. Everybody got taken down. The reason why the mob is no longer, I guess, a public thing is because everybody's been told on and everybody's went to jail, or either you got killed by your own partner that was just standing next to you the previous day. Go ahead.
Well, see, and this is why United Streets of America is so important for our community to understand, right? Because it goes back to what I was saying about these brothers is getting into the industry and leaving the streets and being able to legitimize themselves. See, what we got to be mindful of is that, for one, this culture, they glorify the mafia. They make movies like The Godfather and Goodfellas and Casino and all these different movies where they glorify.
And real quick, Heru. And how many of these clowns call themselves Gotti? But as soon as he got to the feds, he tried to pay the AB money to kill the blacks in the feds, and behind closed doors call us all the N-words. All these Gottis want to emulate him. Go on, Heru.
Right. I agree. But, and he all over the court saying nigga this and nigga that and all kinds of stuff like that. What we gotta understand about what was allowed to happen with these Europeans that indulged in street life and everything else, they have been allowed to legitimize their money. So look at the Godfather where Michael Corleone trying to get his wife back, and he's saying in 5 years the Corleone family will be completely legit. And then by the time you get to the Godfather Part 3, he making deals with the Vatican and everything else. See, like we gotta look at these examples and learn from them and understand that a lot of these people that what you would call Italian mobsters or whatever the case may be, there's two things that people need to know. They have always been controlled by the Jews. So even when the commission of the five families was set up in New York, what they tell you is that it was a man named Hyman Roth who was controlling the money. And then secondly, we have to see that a lot of them have been allowed to legitimize their money. So if you start doing the research, you'll start finding out that a lot of these sanitation contracts and bottling companies and things like that that are up in New England areas like Boston and New York and Jersey and Philadelphia, they controlled by former mobsters. You know, so
Yeah.
we talking about companies that generate millions and millions and millions of dollars. You see, so that's why going back to understanding what I was saying about, you know, these brothers that are actually getting out of the streets from hustling and selling dope and everything else, and are able to flip their money into something legitimate. This is something that the powers that be, whether you want to say the white man or whatever you want to say, bro, they don't want this to happen, man. So that's the one thing I wanted to say. And then secondly, I kind of want to piggyback off of something Brad was saying a minute ago and go back to what was being said when you were talking about the whole situation with the lawsuit. You know, everybody knows Heru, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there ain't no secret about what homie, you know, what type of money he was getting and everything else. But he was being made to look like the bad guy for somebody like Suge Knight. Suge Knight is the ultimate fool because all he had to do was run his record label, man. We talking about, man. This dude had Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Tupac, man. And he was being made to look like he was the good dude, and Heru was the bad guy. So, you know, we gotta understand, man, how people play these games and they paint these narratives, and we gotta get to the point to where we're smart enough to see through the BS that they try to put in our face.
Yeah. So when it comes to when you were just saying about, you know, the mob legitimizing their business, at what point do black street organizations get out the street and try to legitimize their business? Like at what point do we, you know, I guess get away from street code into going into full-fledged businessman? Because I don't think there's a way to be successful in the streets and successful in business when you got one foot in the other. You know what I mean?
Right. So that's the whole point of what I'm trying to convey is that, like, we gotta see that there have been examples. So again, I say Master P. You know, and anybody who really know what was going on with No Limit and know about C Murder for real and Soulja Slim for real, you know, like I got a lot of fam from NO, right?
Yeah.
Man, them dudes is everything they say they was saying in their music, right? But you see what Master P started to say, hey man, I started to leave that street stuff alone, homie, and you know, I wanted to focus on running my business. Like, he let it be known that he was making the transition, you know. And a lot of the people that you've seen from, like, for instance, from Atlanta. Rocco is a real street dude. You know, Rocco got up in the game. He put Future out after he popped his music off, and Rocco got up out the streets. And he worth millions and millions of dollars now. And that's another street dude that he had to go and he had to take his boy Future to court to get the rights to his money that he owed. You know, so there are examples, man, of guys who have learned how to be street dudes and make the transition to become a businessman. I tell people all the time, when I was in the streets, I started off with a half ounce and I turned it into a few of them things. So you can't tell me that I don't know how to hustle and run a Fortune 500 company. You know, so that's the journey that we have to get to, and some of us have done it. You know, they don't want a lot of us to be doing this, because think about it, the more and more brothers that can come out of the streets and transform themselves into legitimate businessmen, what they doing? They taking all the little homies from the hood and they giving them jobs. They putting the little homies who can rap, they putting them in the studio, and they got little homies that learning the music game. So when you see every one of these camps, when you see Yo Gotti, when you see Jay-Z, when you see all of these people that used to be in the streets that now come out of the streets and make millions of dollars, you got to also see past just the person who rapping, and you got to see all of the homeboys. There's one of them might be a manager, another one might be learning how to be a sound engineer. One of them might be learning how to do promotions. One of them might be the person that just worked radio for them.
Yeah.
But now these are these jobs that was in the streets. I'm the lookout, I'm the shooter, I'm the runner. Now all of these dudes are now transforming themselves, and they making the same amount of money or even more money legitimate. So, you know, this is a problem to the people who want us to be mass incarcerated and be behind the wall. You know.
Yeah.
So we gotta start looking at it for what it really is. What you say?
No, I was gonna say, and you know, I agree with everything you're saying. And at the same time, when you transitioning over to that legitimate business, sometimes you're gonna have to do business with some people who didn't take their lick in the street. They are snitches. They are informants or former informants. You know what I mean? At what point do you say, you know what? What happened in the streets is different than what's happening inside the building. Cause that, I mean, on like, I feel like that's what Wack is doing. You know what I mean?
No.
He's not?
No. I'm answering this.
Okay.
I'm cutting you off and I'm answering this. First off, every word that comes out your mouth, that's on Pi root. So by you constantly saying that's on Pi root, you advocating that holds more weight to you than 90% of the things that's going on in your life. You advocating that that's my lines and I'm not going to violate the code of that. That's what you say when you say, that's on Pi root. That's on Pi root. Okay? You have dudes that have died for Pi root. You have dudes that have life sentences for Pi root. You have dudes that are in wheelchairs for Pi root. So when you throw that's on Pi root, that means you are abiding by the rules and regulations of Pi rules. So when birds of a feather flock together, if you're running with a rat, choose a rat, because you're complicit to the rat snitching. You condone it to the rat snitching. And you know if the rat get into something, he's going to snitch again. So by you constantly advocating that you are a part of the streets and your alliances are to Pi root and nothing from the Pi roots. Because Slick from Pi root got on my head last night. Boy, Slick, you something else, Jack. But he got on my head last night because he sticks to the codes of Pi root. He ain't gonna run with no rats. He ain't gonna have nobody around him that's a rat. And he ain't gonna have nobody that violates the ethics and codes of what he is, a Pyru. Stand up dude.
So even in transition into legitimate business.
No, you don't straddle the fence, homie.
Okay.
The reason when I was in the street life, I made money slanging dope. I made money than a lot of more people in life made money. But I couldn't be a successful drug dealer in the street life because I straddled the gang banging and the hustling. The two don't mix. So you can't straddle corporate America and concrete America, meaning the streets.
Mm-hmm.
It's one or the other. This dude act like he's still of the street, and this is what he projects to the masses. Remember, we're only 2%. The street element and the criminal element is only 2% of society. So to 98% of society, he advocates as if he's of the streets, not formerly of the streets, but a continuum of the streets, because he's constantly saying that's on Pyru. So now do you understand the blurred line once again? You can't have your cake and eat it too. It's an old saying, man. Shit or get off the pot. It's one or the other. You can't mix the two. So if you want to sit up here and act like you advocate you street, then you're gonna have street dudes around you that's still engaged in criminal conduct. Your company's gonna go down like the Titanic. So stop faking. See, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm a co-founder of United Streets of America. I'm a co-founder of Compton Ready. There's no way that I'm going to be associated with the streets and destroy what we've built and what we're building. That don't make no sense. Why be in the crack house if you're not selling crack? So don't be acting like a crack dealer.
Yeah.
I'm not in the crack house. I don't sell crack. I'm not in the streets as a participant of street activity. I'll go to functions where there are dudes that are still in the streets, but you know what? I don't know what their business is, but I know the dude is still hustling. But he and I are not going to go sit down in corporate America together. I'm not going to go to where he's doing his business. I'm not going to be associated with that aspect of him. But we can have a conversation in a public setting, but there's no need for me to go sitting down with him and his guys when they're discussing the next endeavor in the street life. I'm not a part of that. I don't want to know about that. It's not my business. What do I want to know about that for? I don't live that life any longer.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that, man.
Yeah. And let me
I can't get around those dudes that's hustling.
Right.
And I'm not going to sit up there and say, man, that's on Compton. That's on Carver Park. Now, once I said, that's on Carver Park, to the person on the inside and on the outside, it's like, yeah, he's still about it. That's fraudulent, man. So then that sends a message to the wannabe street dudes. He accepts snitches. He can get somebody killed now. This is how he can get someone killed. Oh man, that dude is snitch right there. Shit, Wack 100 can say a dude is snitch and don't nothing happen to him. I can say a dude is snitch. Unfortunately, and I don't know if this is true or not, but this is the strong word on the streets. They say the prolific, one of the greats, one of the who I have so much admiration for what he put down in the community and what he did. And I think every urban city dude should use it as a blueprint of what to do in your community. They allege, from what I hear, I don't know, I'm not from 60s, and I'm just saying this is only my opinion of what I heard. They say Nipsey Hussle called a dude a snitch. They say he didn't have no paperwork. They say, I don't say this, I don't know this, y'all, but they say he didn't have no paperwork in hand. They said the guy came back and did what he did. Now, do I agree with what happened? Of course not, because I just got up on the young man. And I got up on everything outside of the industry, what he was doing. But if I was still in the streets, I said, man, you don't call nobody a snitch unless you can back it up. And the dude you call a snitch got every right to do what he want to do in the streets, on street protocol, when you put a jacket on. The street dude can bust you. Even in prison, if I say that dude's a snitch and I don't have no paperwork, the dude who I said is a snitch can come stab me up. And everybody say, man, he didn't have nothing to back it up. But then if it comes out later that the dude was actually a snitch, then it becomes, see, it's a double-edged sword.
Right.
Like, oh, that was fucked up, man. But if you can't back up what you're saying at that moment, you can't put that check.
You don't say it. Yeah.
But on Clubhouse and other avenues, and other media outlets, you call it, Wack 100's calling someone a snitch with no paperwork to back up what he's saying. So what happens when them fans, because he has a lot of fans, and I call him a social media marketing genius because of the way, I don't agree with how he do it, but the way he's built up his fan base, that's genius. But it's predicated on bullshit that'll get somebody else killed. That'll get some dude who'll sit up there and say, you know, some square dude who want to emulate the rappers and the way they dress and all this, wanted the dude up the street go to jail who's really about that business, and he get out on the technicality, and then the dude thinks, oh man, he's a snitch, man. Don't nobody go to jail like that. Get out, he's a snitch. And then that dude who really about his business don't come give him no stitches. Yeah, he give him a stitch because they say when you die, they sew your eyelids up. He gives some stitches, all right, some permanent.
So on the paperwork, let me ask you this, Bry-Dee.
Let me say this
Go
about
ahead.
that, Donte, real quick, man. Homie came in, you know, I don't know what all you listen to, but homie said he'll do business with a Klansman, man. I don't know if you heard that.
I didn't hear that part.
But, yeah, so one of the guys who be in our rooms, this guy named E, he said, is there anything that would make you not want to do business with somebody, since you saying you'll do business with 6ix9ine and anybody else who done told? And he said he'll do business with a Klansman.
You saying he
So
like
now,
in Wack?
Yeah, Wack said that. So I want everybody who hear this interview to know that this is what this dude said, you know. And like I said, I could have pushed the line on him and said, so you willing to do business with somebody and make millions of dollars with somebody that'll be going to buy guns and give to his comrades that'll go out and kill your people then? It's what you're saying, you know. So again, that's that double-edged sword. And see, when people take these clips and they throw them out there on YouTube, you know, if a person haven't heard the whole conversation, it'll look like, oh, Bry-Dog and Gangsta and Melly Mel and them dudes, they bullying Wack, you know. And then the whole PR spin that comes with it, because like Bry-Dog said, these people that's his fun boys that just be in the room with him, that just probably not street, don't know nothing about the streets, and they just you know, jerking him off because they trying to get in the music industry and they want to be rappers or whatever the case may be. You know, people not hearing, you know, everything that's being said, and they don't know the full context. So that becomes very important as well. Dude said that, man. So that means you will get in business and do that, then that lets me know that you're willing to compromise your morals and integrity and everything else. So to me, I look at you like you a snitch.
You see, I want to say this real quick. This is how stupid these dudes are. I was in a room the other night on Clubhouse, and it was a young man named Blake on there. And on his bio, he has stiff Wack 100 supporter, meaning that he strongly supports Wack. So Wack gets on there, he pops into the room, trolling me. That's what you was doing. You popped into the room, and he calls the boy a weirdo, a bitch, this, and the boy is like, but you know what, I'm a fan. And this is a kid named Blake out in Utah. He tell me, ain't shit in Utah, you buster. And the dude is like, but man, okay, Wack, man, I'm gonna try to get it right. And it's like, damn, dude, where's your integrity as a man? But he talked so salty to this man who he just met, but this man is so loyal, so groupified, if that's a word, that he accepted all that ridicule. He accepted all that talking salty to you. And so see, like a dude said to me, oh man, you let Wack say this, you let Wack say that when you was interviewing him. No. I use the analogy of real quick, man, of the frog and the scorpion. It starts raining, the scorpion's gonna drown. He begs the frog, please let me get on your back. The frog says, no, you're gonna kill me. He says, I promise you, man, just please let me get on your back. So the frog hops him across all the puddles so he doesn't drown. Then he stings the frog. And the frog in his dying breath say, why, man? Why you do me? The scorpion said, it's just my nature. So what I'm saying is, when I was interviewing Wack, it's his nature to talk loud and do this. I just let him go on and talk, because I knew I was gonna have 40 Glocc on there on a calm conversation the next day with all of his paperwork the next day. Because see, I don't care about nothing. If you're a rat, you're a rat. I'm not interviewing you. Not coming on our platform. Bottom line. If you're a rat from what I deem as a rat in criminal activity, if you have told on anyone you are not coming on United Streets of America presents Compton Ready, you're not coming on our platform. You're not going to be around us. You're not going to be in the same circles we try.
And
you're
also,
not going to be affiliated, associated with us. I don't care how much of corporate America we in. If you are a dude that's told on a dude in what is our foundation, the street life, even though we made the transition, we're not going to have you around us, man.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
And also,
and that's it.
Bry-Dee, if you can, because I listened to your Clubhouse last night on UOD, where you were breaking down certain terms and certain things on paperwork. And also, I don't even know like what's real paperwork, because I've seen people making faulty paperwork and making up paperwork. Like, so if you can real quick, like break down, how do you know just by some of the terms or some of the phrases that's on the paperwork to let you know if you are a snitch or you working with the government?
Okay, 5K1. If it says in your sentencing transcripts on paperwork, or any paperwork said this man signed a 5K1, that means he's a snitch. But now, dudes who type up some paperwork, dudes who type it, and it says Rule 35, he's a snitch. Dudes who make up paperwork. So what you do, the same way that a Crip knows how to say cuz when he starts cripping, a Blood knows how to say blood when he starts, banging bloods, the same way a GD know how to say folks, and the same way a Vice Lord know how to say peoples. You need to learn these key words just like you know them. FindLaw.com, Westlaw.com, LexisNexis.com. You need to learn. I can go to the library and download any of those for free in a case. That should become the second thing or the first thing before you learn how to say cuz, blood, peoples, or folks. So then that way, if you have a suspected idea about someone, you can go pull the paperwork down. You can pull down their sentencing transcripts. You can pull down if the government requests that this be filed under seal. Only thing the government requesting is to protect their own. That means that person's a snitch. Filed under seal doesn't necessarily mean you're a snitch unless it says the key word. EX-PARTE. Ex parte application for the government's request to be filed under seal. You remember that phrase? Just remember this part. Government request. The dude's a snitch. The government is protecting their own. You have what's called a PACER. PACER. Docket sheet. That tells everything a person goes to court for. If you went to court on an accident today and it wasn't your day to go to court, it'll say it was what's called a dry run. Went to court on an accident. So that's all you got to remember. So any dudes want to find anything out about alleged snitch, FindLaw.com, Westlaw.com, LexisNexis. It rhymes like a rap. LexisNexis.com. Pacer docket sheet. Freedom of information. Go to the public library. Don't believe anybody's mouth.
Let me say something real quick too, Donte.
Go ahead, Heru.
Because this is important. All right, check this out, man. Like, why would somebody go and make fake paperwork, bro?
They trying to hide something.
Think about that. No,
they trying to expose somebody.
Making fake paperwork. They trying to make fake paperwork to make a man look bad. Why would somebody do that?
Yeah.
And they trying to hide something if they're in the feds. That's but on the reality, when you put fake paperwork out on a person, you're trying to make that person look bad.
Right.
You're trying to slander that person.
Right. So, like this is a problem, and with this social media stuff, like when we came to Texas, bro, we came to Texas for a book signing. That sucker shit, man. Like these dudes are going out here and knowingly lying on people, man. And then I'm gonna say this about Wack. And this what when the way he came in our room, this what let me, gave me the impression that he just a buster for real. He came in our room tiptoeing, bro. He came in our room saying, "Gangster, you in here? Gangster, is gangster in here?" You know, so he could say whatever he want to say in them other rooms, and they could take them clips on YouTube and everything else. And that man came in our room tiptoeing because he had already had an encounter with Bry-Dee, and people was like, "Hey, big homie, we know you somebody because we ain't never heard Wack humble himself like that to other people." See, that's the part people ain't seeing and people ain't hearing. Dude came in that room and he was tiptoeing. And when he saw that he wasn't just going to be on his top, that's when he started opening up a little bit.
Yeah, and see, he knew this. I'm diplomatic.
Right.
I don't like arguing. So you get a little inch with me. But he knew gangster wasn't going to go for none of that. See, the thing is, you know how you have a director and an actor, Donte?
Yeah.
And everybody knows that that's a good director, but he's a hell of an actor too.
Yeah.
But everybody, all the actors and actors in the industry know behind the scenes, that's the guy to know. You have certain directors that don't nobody know, but all the actors and actresses know. Well, in the street life, all the cats that, the ones that got the, everybody know outside of the street life, they all know me. I'm the one, no, I'm that director that they know. And they know to tread lightly around this director. Even in their own right, when they, same caliber of man I am, they still tread light because they know to bring ass, you got to get ass. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what he didn't understand was he peeping in that room on Gangster because Gangster is known from his Budweiser commercials to his interviews with Don Diva to the notoriety of his street life to the notoriety of his case to the notoriety of, in a good way, the infamy of his lowriderism and so forth. So Gangster is known on a global scale. But Gangster is the cat too that know the behind the scene cats such as myself. You dig what I'm saying? And Wack didn't know that. But he did his homework, of course. But he also knows too, my character is not an argumentative character. I don't argue with men. I argue with women because I don't hit them. So I'll let that speak for itself. Okay? So he came in that room like a little boy peeping around the corner to see if he caught and take some cookies out the cookie jar from mama. He come in that room, "Hey, is Gangster in here? Is Gangster in here?" Like the deer caught in the headlights.
Yeah.
Okay, I can come in here. I know Bry-Dee don't do all that arguing, so I can get a little boisterous and loud because Bry-Dee gonna try to diplomatically calm me down because he's the kind of dude that don't like to argue. So I can come in here and be a little Raj, but I still gotta watch myself with Bry-Dee because they say he a little crazy, man. So I do gotta watch myself with him. But he gonna let me get off. Other people like Gangster wouldn't let me get off. Right. So it's a difference in us as individuals. So that's what I'm saying. So he came in that room and he got a little rah-rah, and that's why I say again, some of my guys was on the back channel and the Slick Roo was on my head. I laugh, I keep smiling because Slick Roo crazy as motherfucker, y'all. Y'all just don't know. It was on my head about, you let this dude get away with this, that, and another saying that. But like I said, no. And it's like I told 40 Glocc, you were angry. I didn't want you working with emotions and saying things that you would later on down the line regret. So I muted you because I knew you was coming tomorrow. So I wanted you to get a full issue of what this clown is saying about you. So tomorrow when you come with the real, you can attack it like a bulletin list. He said this not true. He said this not true. He said this not true. I have the proof, homie. Here you go, G, homie. This is the proof of that, the proof of that, the proof of this. So I let the clown get off everything that he had to get off, knowing that half of it was fraudulent. And then what happened the next day? 40 Glocc came on our platform, and we went over it, a bullet list of all the bullshit he was saying. And none of it was true. But if I don't want two dudes on our platform. See, United Streets of America presents Compton Ready. We don't have dudes arguing. We'll have dudes, you go, you go, you go, you go. But it's not going to be me trying to overtalk you or out-yell you or try that second-grade intimidation shit. That shit don't work with us.
Yeah.
You can't intimidate us with that rah-rah shit, with that dog chained up in the backyard who bark, and then one day he realized he off the chain and he started barking like, oh, shit. I'm off that.
Yeah. So talk about your Clubhouse room. When is it? When are you guys going live on there? What
Well, we do
days? What
Compton
days?
Ready every Tuesday. We do Compton Ready every Tuesday and Thursday. And we working with a couple guys. Shout out Lil Evil from out of Fort Worth. Shout out the homie Mad Pumpkin from Neighborhood 111. So we got two guys from Texas that we trying to get together, get their schedules right, because they gonna start doing the room from Fort Worth and the DFW, you know. And we expanding it. Shout out to my little sister Tracy from Payback out of Baltimore, because they gonna be doing a Baltimore Ready as well, you know. But our club is United Streets of America. But we also have another club called Red Pill Gang, where we don't talk about street life too much at all, and more so we talk about history and culture and spirituality and things of that nature, you know. And that's equally important for people to understand that, you know, you got thinkers over here. The brothers and sisters that come in our room, and they end up hitting us on the back channel and thanking us and honoring us for, you know, being real men of integrity and morals, and trying to be a part of the solution, you know. See, even when we came to Texas, you know, it's all about trying to stop things and being proactive, because for so long our people have been reactionary, and we are the ones that, through our wisdom of what happens in the streets and what potentially could go right or go wrong, we're trying to make sure that we circumvent, you know, the things that we did in the past to stop things from happening in the future, if that makes sense. You know, so we pretty much have something going in either one of those rooms every day.
Yeah,
you know,
6
so
p.m. is Compton Ready on Tuesdays and Thursdays. 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Right.
Okay.
You know,
and we don't always talk about. Go ahead, bro.
No, you go ahead. No, we don't always talk about just street things and gang things. We talk about what's trending, what topics are trending. You know, then we have our co-counterparts. We have Melly Mel, the Hood Postman, who's on YouTube. Right. You can check out him. You can check out Wednesday Wisdoms with him. Just a snippet of the spit game of wisdom. We have OG Gangster. You know, he has OG ENT TV. His show comes on. He covers topics of everything street and state of the nation, whatever. You know, state of the streets, state of the state, whatever. You know, so we have business partners that have their thing, but our primary is United Streets of America, and then what falls up under our umbrella.
Okay.
See, we have an umbrella company. United Streets of America presents Compton Ready, presents the Red Pill Gang, and like you said, Compton Ready comes on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. and is live.
On Clubhouse.
We don't have the argument. We don't have men calling each other bitches on our show. If a man get called a bitch on our show, that's. I mean, if we allow that to fly, there's something really wrong with that cat, man. Okay, so I'll say who's a bitch on our show, who's in the bitch category. 6ix9ine, you a bitch. You a okay.
For sure.
You're the same league, pedophiles.
For sure, bitch. Right.
You the worst in the criminal element.
I think y'all should tap in.
He can be called a bitch.
I think y'all should tap in with Wack, man. I know he getting the check over there. Ain't no way he's spending all this time on Clubhouse and not getting the check.
Oh yeah,
he's setting up for something.
Yeah, we know that.
Of course he is.
Y'all tap in
and
with
Wack,
Wack,
man. When they make it an IPO
man.
or something, he gonna have a large percentage.
Yeah.
When they do a Twitter, when they do a Twitter, a Facebook, what's the other one? A TikTok. That's why I said, you know, if dudes don't understand this, street dudes don't understand when I said to him, as far as I'm concerned, you are a social media marketing genius. I may not agree with how he's doing what he's doing, but he's creating controversy every day.
Right.
And drawing thousands of viewership.
Right.
So he has to be getting paid and kicked back. But the thing, negates everything. You tearing down good young brothers and taking food off their table at the expense of your advancement. So you have no integrity as a fucking man. Right. You doing this to dudes, man. It doesn't matter if AD throws up a C or a B. He don't gang bang. So what do you want to tear him down for? It doesn't matter about, now you sitting up here trying to tear down 40 Glocc and put a snitch jacket on because 40 Glocc still has this crew of hard heads that he runs with. I'm not saying he's engaged in criminal activity, but he's a dude that like, man, these are my day ones. I blow up, they blow up. And his day ones aren't necessarily in the street life, but now you want to tear down his street credibility because he has a strong fan base of street dudes. So you want to just throw these false checks. So you picking and choosing who you want to destroy at the expense of lining your pockets with certain things, man.
Right.
And Ray Charles could see it.
Yeah, it's not hard to see.
Big old street dude.
Yeah, it's not hard to see if Wack could monetize with you.
This, bro.
Then yeah, go ahead.
But see, we don't give a fuck about money like that. But check it. I mean,
I was about to say, all money ain't good money. His money ain't no good with us. We can't align ourselves with somebody lying and snitch. I don't give a fuck how much money it is. I resort back to the street life before I accept any money with that dude.
Right. You remember that song J. Cole had about the abortion at the end? He said, "What about your soul, nigga?" That's the thing, man. We got souls, bro. And then I'ma let Bry-Dee answer these questions that I'm about to ask him. Bry-Dee, where gang went to high school at?
Compton High.
Okay. What hood Compton High in?
Compton High is surrounded by we'll just go like this: Cajun Block Compton Crips, Spooktown Compton Crips, Palmer Block Compton Crips, Park Village Compton Crips. Those are just surrounding neighborhoods. There are no dot moves that go to Compton High. All Compton Crips go to Compton High. There's no way a person could have went to Compton High for 3 or 4 years as a dot move and got by. You want to keep it real, game was running in Santana. There's no way that a Compton Pyro would have a black bandana on. Santana is one of the most notorious Compton Crip gangs on that side of Compton, and they wear black bandanas. That's akin to me saying, I'm a bomb-ass rapper out of Carver Park, and I put a burgundy bandana on my first video. That's a Pyro color. Santana's a black color. Then another thing, a native would never tattoo Los Angeles on his face. He would probably put LA County, but he wouldn't put LA. We're not from LA. If you ask Snoop Dogg, where's he from? What is Snoop Dogg going to say? I'm from Long Beach. If you ask that kid out of Inglewood, Munchie B, where you from? He's going to say, I'm from Inglewood. If you ask ECE where he's from, he's going to say, I'm from Compton. So that's on that. I just had to touch on that. I'm not slandering him. I'm just stating facts.
Right. And let me say this. On my all-time hip-hop list, man, I got Game as one of the most underrated rappers ever, bro. So
I dig his music.
I know how to separate those things. I think he's one of the greatest rappers that don't get the accolades and the flowers because he's super dope to me. But what I'm saying, I'm saying that to say is that this is the hypocrisy of Wack 100. Is what I want people to see. If he wasn't doing that, you would never hear me say a motherfucking thing about the game. Because I understand how dudes have to do the different things that they have to do and make the moves that they have to make when they are getting into the industry, So I know how to separate the real street shit from the entertainment aspect of things. So the problem becomes, when you want to get out here and talk about people being rapists or pedophiles and everything else, and Tekashi 69 had a pedophile jacket. You want to talk about
you want to ask
fake Bloods, fake Crips, and you got the history of dealing with the type of people that you deal with. It just ain't cool, bro.
I mean, Baby and Lil Wayne, they wore blue rags. Do your history. Go back to their old albums. I don't understand how a man wakes up at the age of 41 and wants to become a gang member. That's hustling backwards. I'm a successful entrepreneur, business owner who made the transition from streets. And I've never been to Chicago. And I wake up today and I'm a multimillionaire and I say, I'm a GD, folks. And I don't know shit about no GDs. But I'm a GD, folks. And then I start dissing Vice Lords. And I start dissing Stones. I'm a GD. I'm telling you, folks. To the right, folks. You know, it's the right way, folks. Now, that's the same thing that Baby woke up one day and he decided, 40-something years old, that he's going to be a blood from California. Fuck going on with that picture? If that ain't hustling backwards, I don't know what is. At 41, you start sagging, showing all the contours of your buttocks. Come on, man, and talk about how street you are. But you made a success of yourself. And now you want to align yourself with something so negative in anyone from the streets. And Donte, you know dudes from your platform, man, tap in, has touched a lot of dudes' lives and have interviewed a lot of dudes. And every street dude you've talked to, you even know. Any street dude that hustles, the first thing he doing to get a piece of change is get a house the fuck away from that street life that he was in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't go backwards. You're not going to be sitting in the projects with $5.3 million in a Rolls Royce parked in front of your project dwelling. Come on, man. So I don't understand these dudes. You know, you want to put on these images, but real dudes such as myself, who you could look up Compton on page 118 and you will see my picture of this guy was really in the streets. This guy gives as good as he gets. I got documentation where I got all these damn bullets in me, man. I wake up every morning to these bullets saying, good morning. I'm like, all right, man, can I get out the bed? Yeah, you can go get out the bed, homie. Thank you. I got all our enemies of my neighborhood that surround us. All of them with me every day. I got 3 bullets in my stomach, 1 in my back and 1 in my neck. I've been beat the fuck up, stumped the fuck out, shot the fuck up, stabbed the fuck up, ran over by cars, lost in one-on-ones. And I done did my share fear of being that guy to people in that world. So see, I ain't gonna never sit up here. I ain't never lost a fight. I ain't got put on my motherfucking back. But you guess what? Part 2 is AM, stand for the aftermath. I came back on that ass.
Yeah.
You know, so these dudes sit up here and they put these false narratives, man. You're not gonna get the false narrative on the United Streets of America presents on any of our rooms. You're going to get the truth. If a dude called in on the show and says to me, Bry-Dee, I was in MDC when you got your ass, but I'm like, hell yeah, that motherfucker kicked shit out of me, man. Goddamn. You know, Bry-Dee, I was in the county jail or juvenile hall. I said, man, you motherfuckers know I can't fight. I just couldn't get to no goddamn knife. Yeah, that motherfucker worked to me, man. And I'm going to say it with humor, but I'm going to say it with acknowledgement. I'm not going to sit up here and think about anything about me. And that's what too many of these dudes are doing because it's misleading the children. If a 12-year-old hear me say that I got my ass whooped, he gonna be like, damn, that dude, they say he tough too. And I don't want to get my ass whooped. If he can get his ass whooped, I can get my ass whooped. But if he hear me say I ain't never lost a fight, I got umpteen goddamn bodies, I got all this and that and this, he gonna say, shoot, that dude get respect, man. I want to be like him. And then his end game becomes a dead end game because I wasn't man enough to admit my truth.
Yeah.
I made poor choices.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? So that's what we advocate, man. We ain't telling dudes to denounce where they from, to say they ain't that no more, whatever. We just pointing out that, look, man, if we could succeed like this, you can.
That's right. And we're going to leave it like that,
but
man.
We're not going to compromise our integrity and do business with a dude that claims that's on par root every other word, acting like he up the streets dealing with a rat. We'll never do business with him. Never.
That's what's up, man.
Heru's daughter is starving, and Wack got a deal on the table for Heru. Nah, Heru, I got this pistol. Let's go jump over a bank counter and feed your daughter. That's what we're referring to before we do business with him.
Yeah. Well, let's not do that. Let's go figure out another business opportunity. There's another way to get it. You know what I mean? Man, I appreciate both of y'all, man. Bry-Dee.
All money ain't good money, baby.
That's right. Bry-Dee.
All money ain't good money.
Heru, man, I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me, man. It's always a pleasure sitting down, chopping it up with y'all, man. Thank you. Yo, man, this has been the Tap In Podcast. Thank y'all for tapping in. Holla.